Oh no. Oh no. I'm not going to be wearing that later, am I? Jesus. That was not my proudest moment. Oh, it's really sticks like shit to a blanket as well. It just smears. Right, now you've cleared your shame away. Tomato paste, stir that in. Okie dokie, campers, we all good? Right, as may have been given away with a giant bowl of red beans, red kidney beans, I'm going to make red beans and rice. So, red beans and rice is a Cajun, I don't know if it's technically Cajun, but it's from the southern USA. It's a traditional thing, not necessarily a very summery dish, but I just fancied it. Doesn't need much. It's one of those great Cajun sort of foods where you get so much flavour out of what you have got that you don't need to put loads of stuff in there. You need a load of beans, obviously the Cajun Trinity, Father, Son and the Holy Ghost, but can't forget about the Pope. Garlic. You can put some chilies in this as well if you want. I'm going to get most of my heat from some cayenne, chili pepper, smoked paprika, stuff like that. To begin, yesterday I put in, this is 500 grams or a pound of red kidney beans, dried kidney beans. Put them in a bowl, a couple of tablespoons of sugar, a couple of tablespoons of salt, and enough water to cover it. I just leave them soaking overnight. I'm also making this vegetarian, vegan even, actually. Traditionally, this would be served with andouille sausage or pickled pork. Pickled pork you have to make yourself, and andouille sausage you can't get around here. I would normally make this with kielbasa or any other smoked sausages, but because there's so much flavour in what we have got here, you don't need any of that, so sod it. Got a load of protein in the beans. Just gonna make it as it is. Gonna need a big casserole dish. I like me, as you've seen multiple times, I like me a cast iron. I'm gonna start preheating that. Doesn't need to be ripping hot. We're gonna dice up our Trinity. A normal sort of dice, mirepoix sort of size. You don't want massive chunks of vegetables, but at the same time you don't want veg that's just gonna disappear into it and turn into mush. So I like to go that sort of size. So onions, peppers, well pepper, use red or green, same size dice as the onion, and 2 stalks of celery. Obviously take the end bit off because it's woody, and then same as everything else, same size dice, and just work your way through it all. And the other one. Pretty much all the prep work. The only thing that's left is our garlic. So, right, I'm going to give it my standard spiel about this. You can make it as garlicky or as not garlicky as you want. Right, and we're just going to smash and chop. Right, but we're going to leave that on our board for now. Ramp the heat up. Decent glug of olive oil. Any oil really, this will do. Just lubing up the pan a bit. So heat up quite high. In with our Trinity. Try not to throw it everywhere. It's always handy to get it in the pot. Right, so we're just going to saute all that down. So what we want to do, we're going to hit that with a bit of salt. Decent pinch of salt. And just sweat it all down, get some of the moisture out of it, and it all starts to go a bit translucent and softened. Once that's well sweated down and you've got rid of a fair bit of that moisture, we're going to go in with about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Turn that down, and we're going to go in with our garlic. I'm just going to let that sweat, let everything get to know each other. Right, and that should smell amazing. We're going to turn our attention to our beans. We are going to drain these, then we're going to just give them a bit of a quick rinse. Now, in here, we're going to go our beans, stir them in, and now we are going to chuck in enough water in there to cover this all. Doesn't need to be exact, you just want to get everything covered. That was a litre of water, so it gives you an idea, but it doesn't have to be exact. We're going to give it another decent pinch of salt. Now, I'm going to put that on a high just to bring it back up to the boil. And then we're going to reduce it down to a low simmer. Now, we are going to go in with a few flavours. I want about a teaspoon of cumin. This is smoked paprika. I want about a tablespoon of this, quite a lot, to get that smokiness in there. Thyme. I want about maybe a tablespoon of thyme. Cayenne chili pepper. This is going to give me my main bulk of heat. So I'm going to go in there with about a teaspoon of this. You can up that if you want it hotter, down it if you don't want it as hot. And we're also going to go in with about a teaspoon of dried sage. And as we did in jambalaya and the gumbo episodes, we're going to grind in black pepper until our arm aches and we have to take a break. And then that's when you know you've got enough black pepper in here. Stir that all in, get it all combined. What you're going to get here with the dried kidney beans is you're going to get a slow release of starch into this, and it's going to create this really thick, gravy-like sauce over the course of about 2 to 3 hours. So I am going to whack a lid on it with a little bit of a gap. I'll leave it on a high until it comes up to a boil. Then when it comes up to a boil, I'm going to put it onto a smaller burner as low as it will go. So I want it to just very barely burble away in the background. Keep an eye on it. Give it a stir. If it starts to dry out a little bit, put a bit of extra water in there, clamp the lid on it maybe to keep the moisture in. I'll come back in about 2 hours time. No, I'm not. Bay leaves, or a couple of bay leaves in there. About 3 decent sized bay leaves. Give them a little bit of a crush. Right. Now, back to the aforementioned schedule. Let it burble away on a lower setting. And I'll be back in about 3 hours. So the lid's been on probably for most of those 3 hours. And you can see it's created a really nice, thick, gravy-like consistency. The beans have soaked up some water and pushed out some starch like pasta, and it's just thickened that up. I want it a little bit more thicker than that, so I'm going to leave the lid off and keep stirring it for a little bit. While we're doing that, I'm going to get my rice on. Essentially what you're looking for is 1 to 1.5 ratio. So I'm going to cook, I'm going to weigh it out, but you don't have to weigh stuff out. So I'm going to cook 100 grams. So when that's 100 grams, I'm going to want 150 grams or 150 mil of water. But what we are going to do, first of all, is we're going to wash the rice. Stick it in the colander and just give it a stir, give it a rinse. Stick the spurs to that, and then when that comes up to a boil, we'll clamp the lid on, whack it down to a simmer, let it simmer for about 10 minutes, then turn it off and let it rest without taking the lid off for about another 10. Hola, back in. So, rice is done, and what I've done there is I've just buttered the inside of a ramekin, packed the rice into a ramekin and turn it upside down so I can get this little fancy little tower of rice going on. That's just showboating. Pile your rice up in the bowl, pile your beans up on top. So, just going to put those beans around the outside of this bowl. Just cut out a few sliced green onions, a bit of coriander, a bit of parsley, anything just scattered on top. And, traditional, last but not least, but traditionally you would have a few drips around the outside and through the rice of hot sauce. There you go, Cajun red beans and rice, done vegan. And like I said, I'm not vegan. If I could get my hands on some andouille, or if I fancied making pickled pork, I would. But at the same time, there's so much flavour in there, you don't necessarily need the meat. And if you haven't got the meat to hand, or if you're trying to cut down on your meat consumption, this is brilliant. And like I said, it's big, hearty, filling comfort food. It's the middle of summer. Give it a go, maybe, but I won't. What I'd say is bookmark this, set yourself a reminder for November. When it starts getting a bit wet, starts getting a bit cold, this is banging. This will warm you up, this will make you feel great. So, got to apologise, videos are getting a lot more inconsistent. I'm skipping a week here and there, and it's coming out of lockdown. We're starting to go out and see family that we haven't seen for years. Ages ago, like I said, I had some problems with editing, and that kind of put me on the back foot. I was trying to get ahead, knowing that I was coming out of lockdown, and I was trying to get ahead of myself. That didn't happen. I'm not at home as often as I was during lockdown. I've got a lot more other things going on. I'm in the process of trying to buy a house with my girlfriend, which will hopefully have a much bigger kitchen. And once I'm in there, with a bit like I'll be able to do some stuff. But for now, I'm going to keep doing what I can, getting out what I can. If you like, comment and subscribe, and also hit that notification. I know it's a cliche, but where I can't upload as consistently as I'd like to, if you hit the notification, when I do upload, you'll get a notification. That's what it says on the tin. It's Ronsil. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're surviving. I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to have some of this. I mean, it's not quite dinner time yet, but I've got to filming around stuff at the moment. So, be good. Can't be good. Be lucky. And with a bit of luck, I'll actually see you next week. We'll see. Let's see if I can actually get 2 out one week after the other. Right then. See you later, peoples. Bye.